I was amazed by the fact that there was no grading system. You either pass or fail, right? There is no grade. And it really made me realize that this is the reason why we always help each other in our projects. Like there is no competition. Nobody is trying to be the best. They are all trying to help each other. And you see it in the class, in the workshop space, when around the project delivery times, the workshop would be full, like with people working on their models. And then you would see everyone helping each other. It's because there is no grading system. Nobody is really trying to be the best. They are all trying to help each other.
I wanted to get to know more about you because when we get to know each other at the UID, to me it was like, wow, she's quite interesting and very talkative and friendly. It will be nice to get to know her. So I was going through your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you started your education at Istanbul in the technical university. So my question is, what pushed you at that time to get into this design realm? What was the thing that motivated you to get into this field?
Yeah, I was already studying in the high school in a technical educational path, but doing also some artistic hobbies like painting and such. And then I knew that I wanted to do something creative, but it was not an artistic education. And then when I saw the description of industrial design, I thought that was a very good match of technical puzzle solving, problem solving, together with the artistic creation, the aesthetics of it. So that's how I started actually with the industrial design.
And at that time, for example, in my case, when I wanted to study industrial design, at high school, to me, it was like, okay, I either go architecture or graphic design. Industrial design was not something that really existed. Yeah. And that was 2012 when I took my studies. So I imagine that Istanbul and then a few years before me, it's quite a very similar idea, I guess. Like industrial design was not really like a, hey, choose me, like I'm here. So how did you get to know that?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I went to this kind of like a occupational speech. Like you go to these occupational talks, and then there was a person who was giving a speech about architecture. And I was really considering architecture by then. Because of this, again, merging of the problem solving, technical thinking and the creativity. And then he said, okay, I'll also talk about industrial design. And then he started explaining industrial design, and it sounded, it was much more related to like our habitat. Like architecture is really like the buildings itself, and building maybe the residential areas or some kind of like a constitution of buildings and roads and such maybe. But industrial design felt closer and more intimate. Like it's the pen that you're holding, and it's the chair that you're sitting on. It's a very intimate interaction. So that's, I think, what really attracted me when I heard about the description of industrial design. Yeah.
And how was your experience when you got into the industrial design career, the bachelor's, and you finished? Did you have a chance in Istanbul to really like go straight into the field?
Well, it's interesting because I think there are some similarities like between Mexico and Turkey. The way design was very much known was through Italian design, Alessi's, and all these kind of like a really nice, friendly products. And then there were very much also cut pathways for people who would graduate from school. Like either you become a kind of like a trade fair presentation stand designer, or you become a jewelry designer, which I became one, which I started actually my career with. Then there was also like one or two companies who were building household goods, like washing machines and the dishwashers and such. So there were like very little paths to choose from. So I started with jewelry and then switched slowly to lighting design. And there, I think the beauty of being in Istanbul was that you are very close to also production facilities, small production facilities. You could go to the workshops, small workshops, the metal workshops, the aluminum anodizers, to metal spinning workshops, to glass makers, and all of those. So that's where I kind of got into much more kind of like a hands-on product making.
So
yeah.
The industry was open, like the companies were open to you to just go around and take a look and
they were, but they wouldn't be, but it wouldn't be established occupational field, I would say. Like if you tell them you're an industrial designer, they invite you over, and then you kind of like have the chance of building things together, designing things together, but you would always be challenged or confronted with people saying like, this is my wife's design, what do you think of this? Or like or can we build this because my wife has made the drawing
because like, my kid you just did this the first time that he took a pen, like great.
So it was not as established as you would see in Sweden, for example. So the biggest difference between Sweden and Turkey, I would say, like when I tell people I'm an industrial designer in Sweden, everybody knows what it is. It's very much established as a description. Yeah. I don't have to fight and kind of like go through the challenge of explaining what I'm doing.
Do you think like now, if you go back to Istanbul and you say I'm an industrial designer, has it changed? Because here in Mexico, it's still the same. When I say I'm an industrial designer,
it's still the same. The industry also have changed. Maybe now it's more common to be a kind of an creative maybe in graphic design or let's say website design, but still industrial design is not as well established as or well understood by the society.
I think that's a tricky part that happens when that kind of projects and when more industrial designers start to develop what they were meant to, or to really work in this country, people get to know, okay, that's what they do, because architecture is kind of obvious, right? Being an architect, being a psychologist, because it is so well known that they don't ask. But I think also right now with industrial design, before, like I will say a few years ago, we used to be product designers. So you will go to LinkedIn and look for product designers applications. It will be for you, like knowing hardware, 3D stuff, research. But now when you apply for a product designer position, you don't know anything about that. It's about doing websites, about doing logotypes, about doing programming. And it's like, hold on, this is not product design anymore.
Well, it is a product. It is a product. Yeah. It's an online product, digital, right? Yeah. So it is a product, but you're right. Like we need to explain and we need to identify what it is that we are doing, right? Is it a hardware product? But also after Umeå, you don't become a hardware product designer, actually. You become almost a design strategist, an all-around designer. You become responsible for the research. You become responsible for really creating the strategy about the whole entire design outcome, and then matching it with the, merging it with the business strategy and stuff. Like you become more of a all-around designer. I think after Umeå. So it's still, I wouldn't even call it a hardware product designer either. So,
From there, I would like to jump into your career going in Istanbul. How did you get to know, first of all, Umeå, and then I guess we get to know first about UAD, and then we realize, it's there. It's an Umeå. It's so far. So how was the experience for you to realize that there was this university, and what pushed you to go there instead of anywhere else?
What pushed? Well, it was already kind of gaining some reputation. Like there were a couple of students who went to Umeå from Turkey, so they were coming back and then explaining, making some presentations in in our university. But also, coming from Turkey, it was not easy to finance a school with tuition fee. So tuition fee, it by then it was for free. The education was for free for everyone who was applying, who was studying in Umeå. So all of it played big role. And then I think for me specifically, I didn't want to do something like emotional design, but I really wanted to go to the basics, like the basic functionality, but also human-centric side of it, which Umeå was very much popular with. Also, Scandinavian design is also very popular with. So that was also main reason. I wanted to do real hardcore product design. That was what I wanted to do. Yeah.
And that experience, how did it change your perspective from your background to, I imagine that being surrounded by a lot of different nationalities in a place that it was so far from everything that you knew, like from the weather, the food, the people, the culture, everything was different.
Yeah, the first reaction is trying to resist and kind of try to hold on to your own identity, right? Own habits. Like, for example, the first year was pretty much like trying to repeat what you are used to eat in your home country, what you are used to do for entertainment, what you're used to wear. And then slowly you realize actually it's not sustainable. Like you can't really, even if you find that specific food ingredient, it would be rotten all the way, coming all the way from Turkey or another country. So then you just start looking around and then understand what do really these people do around me, what do the locals do, and try to understand how to really adapt to the new environment. So that was one thing, and it was actually very fun to do it. I don't know if I'm changing one subject to another, but I do remember, for example, I was doing my internship in Eindhoven, and then there was a Swedish class colleague intern also with me, and she asked me, do you sometimes miss the root vegetables in Sweden? And then I just realized that's what I need to do. I need to eat root vegetables in Sweden. That's how I noticed it, because she was missing missing the root vegetables. I was constantly going for the food that I was used to from my home country, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, actually I need to adapt, and then I need to go for the things that are produced in Sweden. That's it. And that was that made it so much fun. It applies to everything else. Like then you just also the way to cope with the winter. You just watch the locals. They're just going for cross country skiing. The moment the water freezes, they go out skating. Like all these winter sports become very much fun to do. So winter is not something to just like kind of complain about. It's something to really just grab your skis and go out and have fun.
Yeah, I see there the idea of adapting. When they tell you like I'm from Mexico, and they were asking me like, how the fuck is that you are adapting to this weather? It's so different. Why are you here in Umeå? Like even the locals were telling me, and I was telling them like, I just love your winter. It's so peaceful, and I hear nothing. Like there's no cars, no people screaming. The air is pure. It's just like, oh my God, it's so nice. And you just have to wear a lot of clothes, and that's it. And then you get adapted.
Yeah.
and it's so
it
nice.
is exotic. It is exotic
Yeah.
to us. And then it's funny, like Mexico is exotic to maybe northern Europeans, but to me, northern Sweden is very exotic to me. So it's very attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. And those were kind of I'm listening to this cultural part, the way of living there, the way of adapting, eating their food and living their way of how they see and experience their world. And in terms of design, did you see something that through the courses and getting to know people, something that maybe made a shift or evolved in your mindset?
There is a lot of things that happened when I came to Umeå. So I don't know which one to start with. The first one was I was amazed by the fact that there was no grading system. You either pass or fail, right? There is no grade, and it really made me realize that this is the reason why we always help each other in our projects. Like there's no competition, right? Nobody is trying to be the best. They are all trying to help each other, and you see it in the class, in the workshop space. When I don't know if you're still doing that, but back in my time, there just around the project delivery times, the workshop would be full, like with people working on their models, and then you would see everyone helping each other. It's because there's no grading system. Nobody is really like trying to be the best. They are all trying to help each other. That was one of the things. The second thing is that the school has this amazing nurturing environment. Like they provide you all the things that you need, and they let you just do your own thing, explore. You just need a safe space to feel like if I explore something, if I go completely wrong and if I fall, it's still safe. It's a safe environment to fall. That is very nurturing, I think. It was very amazing in that sense. So it kind of gives you the freedom to really explore, discover new things, and then if you fail, that's also okay, because it's a safe ground to fall, right? You still make it. So that was another thing that really amazed me. The students themselves from all around the world, everyone came with their own talents. Everyone came with their own problems, but also stories. It was really nice to connect and see this whole color in this completely isolated place. I kind of was thinking, actually, I was thinking, like, what is it? What is it? And then I just feel like it's kind of like a living organism with its own mitochondria. It creates its own energy, chemical energy, but at the same time, it's in isolation within itself, but still it can take whatever it needs from the environment, from the whole entire global world. So it gives you the feeling that we are all safe in a very isolated place. We create our own energy, but at the same time, when we need other things, we are still able to access to the global world. It was this really nice selective isolation, I would say, maybe.
Do you think if we move Umeå University to Istanbul or Mexico or somewhere else very populated, it wouldn't work, right?
No, because I was also thinking, like in Istanbul, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, what did I get from Istanbul? I got the chance. The school was very much in the center of culture. It was in the cultural center of Istanbul. So there was international film festivals, international music festivals, concerts, exhibitions, movies, pubs, parties, like all kinds of activities, workshops and such, biennales, art biennales and everything. And we were constantly going to these places. Like we would take a break from school, go to and see something, and then come back and study. And it was constantly like in and out, in and out, in and out. I think it was really feeding culturally, but it didn't create the connection. Maybe it didn't create this glue that really connected the students to each other. Maybe I'm just thinking it could be that because when you meet someone from who says I studied in Umeå Institute of Design, you immediately feel like you're from the same club.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You feel like you're from the same club. You feel like you come from the same house or like
Yeah, you feel
same
like you can
household.
trust them because they have the same values. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was living at the same place during my 2 years of the master's studies at Umeå. And the landlady, Eva, she was like, I get the feeling that you guys from UID are kind of a cult. And I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, because you just hang out with each other, you date each other, you go parties each other, you study together, and you don't do anything else apart from UID.
And we hire each other.
Yeah. Yes.
In the future.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah. And then when I was telling her about a company that I was applying in Stockholm, I was telling her, and 95% of the people there is from UID. Oh, so you are jumping from one bubble to the same bubble, but in Stockholm. And like, yes.
But that's the nice bubble. It's a kind of like a selective isolation bubble. Like you still are able to bring in whatever you need to do as a fruit from the outside.
Still you have a diversity, right? Like it is not like we are secluded and we are just saying like no. It is just like we already know how it works and we feel good with this and it works. And if we feel like we miss something else, we might bring someone else from outside, but we will be selective in the way of the process of hiring people might take longer. But in that case, the idea is that you make sure that it works and it's fluid and it's also, I feel like it's very healthy. At least in my time at UID was very nice and welcoming, and you will feel that everyone could be themselves and you could be friendly with everyone.
It's a kind of like a workshop in a way, like everybody's doing the same crafts or part of the same similar crafts, and then you see each other working on their thing, iterating. You know how much hard work also is spent there. You don't feel like somebody is just finding their way out and then the other one is working too hard. We are all sweating equally in this. So that's also that's also maybe the tying connection mechanism. Yeah,
definitely. And the part that I was looking into, like you're describing it exactly as if you were part of my group, which is I just finished it like a few months ago, and I'm seeing here in the data and the information that I have, you did your master's in 2006, 2009. So it was a bit long ago.
Nothing has changed.
And nothing has changed. What it has changed is the director, right? Like now we have Thomas Deng, and you were saying that you had the founder of the program, Pete. How is the difference? How was your experience with him? And then you were also mentioning before we start recording that you had this fortune of being in the transition.
I have to say that not too much have changed. Maybe the tools have evolved in time to match the technological evolution. Like we were much more maybe hands-on in the workshop space, building models, like 3D models and creating them. Like car design, for transportation design, was fully clay modeling. And then the whole entire process, their degree shows would be also like scaled models out there, really showing. And it was that transition period. I do remember in the degree show, some students didn't come up with a scaled model, and some students did only make a video of it, like some kind of like renderings and the videos, animations. It was that transition time period, for example, that I witnessed. And then we were still questioning if it's okay not to do 3D model, if it's okay to just finish your school with an animation or not. Like those kinds of questions were there. But out of the basics of the education, the principles that it stands on is still the same. It's human-centered design. It's really how do you deal with complex information, complex use cases, and how do you find out the problems in there and transition them into opportunities and then make them very much valuable for all the stakeholders involved. So it's pretty much the same thinking process, actually. And how do you stand in the shoes of the user?
Hey, what's up? This is a very short pause, and as soon as I finish with this commercial, we will get back to the video. So I really hope you are enjoying this fun and insightful conversation with Ceren Bagatar. If you are, I would really appreciate if you could like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. This is actually just the first part of a 2-hour interview. The original plan was to record just 1 hour, but we kind of quickly realized we had so much to talk about, and the conversation naturally extended into many different and interesting topics, all related to design or important in regards of design. So if you would like to get notified when the second part goes live, just click the subscribe button, and that way you will also stay up to date with the interviews and design tutorials I post here. Perfect, that's it. Now let's get back to the video. From what I'm hearing and my experience and yours, students, they kind of seem is the same selection. They have the same characteristic. They are nice people, humble, very skilled. They come from a lot of different nationalities, and they are very open to share and explain and help. It seems to me that then an important part is the one that is directing the orchestra. So if you could describe Pete, what would you say?
I think he was okay. He made a good team, I think. Yeah, that when we were all selected for the program, I realized, for example, that he made sure that everybody came up with a different skill, or a skill that we would learn from each other. So he was, like you're saying, he was a good orchestra or team lead of an orchestra. Yeah. So that was what I understood from him. But also, I think Thomas also does it too. Like he would never give you this feeling that he's not sure if you would make it. Right? He would always tell you, "You're gonna impress them. I know what you're going to do." And then he would leave, and then you're like, "I need to impress them." You just like you get this trust from this old man, this really wise person comes in, and then he says "I know that you're gonna impress them." With he would mention these companies that we would be collaborating with because it's still the same structure, right? Like you get a kind of a problem defined by a company, and then you collaborate with them, find solutions. So when it would be presentation time, he would always do that, you're doing this right, you're doing this right. Like he would not ask you, are you doing this? Have you have you done this? Like the way would be I'm pretty sure you're gonna do this. I'm pretty sure you will be doing this, and you will be impressing them. And then he would leave, and then you're like, okay.
Yes, of course.
So, yeah, but that coming to that maybe leadership quality, this feeling of trust in you, and then the calmness, the coolness kind of translates to you. You don't get nervous. You don't feel like you're not enough. You just feel like the only thing you need to do is work to get it there. It's not that you can't, right? So that was I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I literally, it's funny because what I was thinking while you were describing Pete, I could easily just change Pete's name for Thomas, and it will be the same. So it kind of they clone themselves into a different body, and that's it. It's funny to hear that is very
Or
similar. Of course, they might have brought something else, but it seems like they were really taking care into who was taking after the program.
Or you could also argue that the conditions have created these personalities and these qualities, right? Because you can't place any person in a very unsafe, uncertain condition, and then they would become so panicky, and then they would translate that panic. They would it would become a pandemic of panic in the whole environment, right? Or you create the right conditions that really fosters trust, safety, and nurture, and then any leader feeling safe and feeling calm is going to, of course, talk to you in a very calm way and then give you the message that everything is going to be okay, right? It's the conditions as well, I think, that create these values in people.
It's funny with these conditions how they mold people. I was talking with a guy from Kiska, and he was explaining. We were having a very deep, interesting conversation, and he was explaining me how religion molds and shapes design. I didn't even look at that and notice when he was explaining me before, because he was saying, like, for example, look at Italy. They have the Catholic Church, and they have these huge areas with a lot of gold and details. And you could see that in their design. They are very flamboyant with details and aesthetics, and very poetic, and they tell you a story. And it's full of a lot of design, and it's like, oh my God, it's a lot. And then if you move to Asia, like Japan, for example, it's more, their religion is more rooted into nature, into themselves, into their souls. And the way how design shapes there is very respectful and rooted and connected to nature. It's just about the right amount of things to allow nature to express and to be very good within yourself. And then he went to Sweden. Like, look at Sweden. It's more, they are Protestants, and their churches, they are not that full of details. And it's about simplicity and making the things right. And there's this phrase in lagom, I think, which is lagom. Yeah. It is being not modest. A lot. It's just the right amount. And then with that, it's connected to what you were telling me, like how the people adapt, and their way of thinking and designing adapts to the environment they are living and how they get influenced.
Yeah, I think that's very spot on. I do remember also seeing an exhibition back in Amsterdam, in their modern art museum, Stedelijk Museum, and there was this exhibition about history of Nordic Scandinavian design, and they were making these connections between the Protestant culture and the design itself, the design aesthetics. Like, everything has to be modest. There's no room for ornaments. There is no room for doing it too much. But you can also, we were talking about it with also another designer friend of mine who was from Japan. Everybody knows Miyazaki, right? The Studio Ghibli animations, right?
Yeah.
So I was listening to this interview I was listening to this podcast about someone who went to this Studio Ghibli's Disneyland type of place, this theme park of Studio Ghibli in Japan. And then in this podcast, he was talking about the concept of ma. I don't know if you know it.
I have heard it, but yeah.
Ma is the space, the pause. Like in Ghibli movies, you have this pause. Like there are moments in the movie where nothing happens. The persona is just looking out to the horizon, to the water, and there's silence, and there's this moment. And then you see this also in the design. Like there is room for space. There is room for the audience to take a breath. Right, you're just breathing in. You're taking your existence in that space, and then you see similarities also in Sweden too, like in Scandinavian design too. There is so much space that is given to the audience, to the person who is experiencing the design. There is so much more in there, like pauses and moments for your own reflections, moments for you to just take your breath, to kind of like wait for your soul to catch you, right? Find you. But also transparency. I was also reading about, again, the one of the things in Protestant culture is the transparency. There, I have nothing to hide. Right, there's nothing to hide, and then you would see that the windows will have no curtains.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's so.
Yeah, because
yeah.
because people have nothing to hide. There is like everything is transparent. And then you see it also in the politics, in the countries, also social structure. You are able to find any information about any person online. Like you can even find how much they earn, like where they live.
You can see where they live, their age, their phone number, everything.
And you know what? Because it's transparent, you trust in the system. And that's why you are kind of okay with whatever happens, right? So that's the thing. You're okay with just being part of that bigger whole. There's nothing that holds you back. Because when you feel like there's something hidden behind the curtain, you just feel like, I don't know if I trust that thing. Right? Yeah. So then in the design, how it really translates into the design, you can also argue like it can translate into design in terms of like, is it easy to really use? Is it easy to learn? Is it easy to really understand like what I have to do with this product? Is it easy to repair? Do I have to really like take it to service, or can I repair it myself? It's again like everything is out, open, transparent, and I feel trust in what I'm using as a product.
Yeah, is it also wood? Can it be really recyclable?
Authentic
or is it
materials.
Just like greenwashing? So
it's authenticity. Authenticity again comes back, right? Honesty comes back. Like it's about like honesty, creating this feeling that you can trust in this because you know what it is. I know that this is wood. I know that this is metal. I know that this is coated metal or whatever. But there is something that you can really feel about the touch of it. You feel that it's cold. Then hence it is metal. Like again, the use of the materials and everything becomes much more authentic and honest, and that is again part of maybe that culture. And then quality, right?
Yeah, the quality given by the experience, by the craftsmanship, and doing and doing over and over again. And then how do you see and differentiate or compare that you have experienced in Sweden, in Turkey, and in other countries that while doing my research to get to know more about you, you also have lived in the Netherlands, in the US, and according to one profile, you also lived in Argentina. There I see a huge contrast. So how do you live that idea of honesty and transparency in these countries? What do you find interesting there?
We are coming out of the design conversations. It's becoming a little bit more also anything is related to politics and right, society, sociology and such. Well, how do I feel? Like, for example, when I was in Sweden studying in Umeå, I got the chance to do my degree project with the municipality in Umeå municipality. And then they wanted to, they were going to get city buses from bus companies, and they wanted to have some kind of like a manual to give them. This is what we want. But then we turned that manual creation in terms of like into, okay, some kind of like a requirements, user requirements, design requirements, but also it was my degree project. So I got to design also a city bus for the municipality. But the nice things that I got, first of all, I would never be able to work with any municipality anywhere else in the world, right?
No.
Here, the city is open to you. Like you're like, why don't you work with us? Like do your degree project. Like it's an amazing chance to influence, to have influence on the decision makers, the main decision makers on the about the environment that you live in, right? In the city, you have the chance to influence the city that you live in. So that was one thing, one difference. Then, of course, I got to also understand that they had this amazing vision of being completely accessible as a city. And then accessibility doesn't only mean wheelchair access, right? It means also things that you don't get to see with your eyes. Like some people have cognitive disabilities. Some people have maybe vision disability that doesn't show because they're not, it's not visible to see when you look at them. Like there are so many different inclusiveness that is included there, and then you get to see that, oh, okay, so this is what it means. And then you start traveling around the world, and then you see like, oh, I don't see any wheelchair people here, right? There are countries and there are cities where you just feel like, where are all these people? They don't exist, or they don't have the right conditions to participate. Right?
Yeah.
So then,
they don't exist to the eyes of the government. To the eyes of society, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that was one thing that I got to see. Other things, of course, the cultural differences. One thing that really was interesting to see in the States, for example, when I lived there, I used to walk to the office, and during my day-to-day office works, commutes, I would see all these products that are thrown away. Like people would throw car seats, sofas, TVs. But then it wouldn't be like once in a while. It would be just like, I'm just walking through these things that are just thrown away. And then you just get to realize, oh, they throw away so that they create room for the new things to come in, because it's a society that is really pretty much in need of circulation. There needs to be a constant circulation cycle of new things coming in and leaving. Yeah. It's not the same as what you would see, for example, in some countries where things remain forever in your home.
Yeah, it's a big idea of consumism, like you live in a constant feeling of renewing, and even though it's still very good quality, just like, let's get the new one because that's that's what everyone is doing.
Yeah. And then if you know that you're going to throw it away at some point, why get the good quality one? Then you just get to buy the cheap quality one. Then that comes to a different problem area that comes to sustainability and such, of course, the topic. But we are jumping from one topic to another. But
which is great. I think it's also part of the idea of designfulness is realizing that being a designer is not just about talking about fancy products and electronics. It's also about understanding your environment and being empathetic with it, and everything is connected in a way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more important to observe the societal changes and understand what's about to come than observing the this year's and next year's trends, right?
Mm,
So I think of course, it's very important to be inspired by just this new design trends and everything that is happening around you, but you need to keep a vision, some kind of like a long vision, like what's going to happen within
mm.
5-10 years. You need to have an idea and understanding of that, and that
I,
comes from social observations. Yeah.
which I feel like these trend reports like WGSN or the ones that are made by IF and other companies, in the end, what they are doing is they are understanding and reading the culture, what's going on in economics, politics, sustainability,
Mm,
everything.
mm,
And then they will do a summarize for you. It's kind of they just digest and put everything for you there. But I feel like there's more magic when you do that by yourself in your own locality and when you focus, because in the end what they are doing is filtering everything that they don't
yeah.
consider important, and they will just make you think as the same. So when you take a look to portfolios of designers and you look at the mood boards, they are all the same.
Yeah.
Pinterest, Lemon, the same details, because that's a trend, because that's what they are telling you, like this is what you should be looking at, not nothing else, and that's it. And you find something more rich or different when they are not being just influenced by that, which is good. Like you need to take a look into what's going on
Mm,
around yourself, but also you should be more immersed into what do you think, how it's working, and
yeah.
how can you make something from your own environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Like there was a time I realized, for example, myself, because there is a moment in your career you are just delivering things, like constantly just reacting to what is asked from you, and then you're delivering things. And then around that time, I realized that I lost my gut feeling. I didn't have any gut feeling about like, because that's the thing, like you start a project and then you get to see the problem, and then you all of a sudden have the feeling, like have this vision of the outcome, right, of the solution. That's your gut
Mm.
feeling. And then sometimes you lose it because you're so much carried away by all the trends or some other things that are happening around you, and then you just lose it. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, so it's important to really remember that you need to brew things internally and then digest things internally, and you should really also trust in your own gut feeling. You should observe a lot, absorb a lot of information, yes, but don't completely ditch your own gut feeling, I think. Yeah.
How would you say that you developed your gut feeling? I remember from one of my classmates, they were telling me like, I just don't have it. Like, I don't get it. They will have to do 3, 4, 5 slides just for one slide of the presentation, and they will spend 1 hour just deciding on which one was the best. And I was just telling them like, just follow your gut feeling. And they were like, yeah, it's so easy for you to say, but I don't have that. Like, I think everyone has that, but maybe it might be that they lose it or they stop believing in it. Other experience that I will have is they will go around every classmate and they will be like, hey, what do you think is better, A or B? And it was just a little change in the shape.
Yeah.
And they will have a table where they will stick some like ratings. 3 of my classmates have chosen A, 7 have chosen B, and they were still on the sides. And I was just telling like, why don't you follow your gut feeling? And they were like, I'm
I don't
asking
have
you
it.
because I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult when you really delve too deep in the
Mm,
details, right? Like sometimes, like imagine yourself in a microscope in a laboratory environment, and then you're looking at a microscope, observing the cell, and then
mm,
you just look at around like this. at some point. It takes a while to just get out of that feel, right? So it's the same, like when you are too much deep in a project and then you look around like this, you can't even look inside like that. Like you need to really jump out, step out of it. And then you need time to step out of it. So for example, these days when I go out for running, for example, I do think about it. And then when you don't have the pen, paper, your computer screen, everything in front of you, but just your brain, then it comes back to you. Like you start thinking about it, you start kind of having your own thoughts around the problem or what to do. For example, when I was running, I was thinking about our interview. So I was just thinking because first I thought, okay, I'm going to sit down and write my answers or write my notes. But then I just thought maybe I should just go out for running and then just think about it, because then you kind of have that inner comings, right?
Thank you so much for watching this interview with Ceren Bagatar. I hope you found it as inspiring and provoking as I did. If you enjoyed it, again, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might also enjoy this conversation, because remember, sharing is caring. And this was again just the first part. The second part of our chat will be published next Friday, the 19th, so make sure to stay tuned. With love, Jerry. Bye.